When I say it's time to disappear, I don't mean running away from life or escaping responsibility. What I mean is stepping back from the constant noise, the endless chatter, the opinions, the notifications, the pressure to always be present in front of others. You see, we live in a world that rarely allows silence anymore. Every moment is filled with distractions. Our minds are constantly occupied with what others are saying, what others are doing, and what others expect from us. And in all of this noise, the most important voice, the voice of your own heart, becomes drowned out. That is why disappearing for a while is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is not defeat, it is strategy. You cannot hear your own calling if you never allow the noise to stop. There comes a point in every person's journey where you have to recognize that the answers you're searching for are not out there in the crowd, not hidden in someone else's approval, not buried in the applause of people. The answers you need are already within you, but to hear them you need space. You need stillness. You need to cut away from the distractions long enough to hear the whisper of your soul. Disappearing is about taking that sacred time to reconnect with yourself, to reset your mind, to remember what truly matters before you get lost in the confusion of this world. Sometimes, the greatest progress you will ever make is when nobody is watching. When you turn off the noise, put down the phone, close the door, and allow silence to fill the room. At first, that silence feels heavy. It feels uncomfortable, because you've been trained to always consume, to always check, to always compare yourself to others. But slowly, as the silence settles in, something powerful happens. You begin to hear the thoughts you've been avoiding. You begin to face the questions you've been running from. You begin to remember dreams that were buried under the expectations of everyone else. That is the gift of disappearing. It is the space where you finally come face to face with yourself. And I'll tell you something, many of the strongest people you know, many of the most grounded and powerful souls, they didn't become that way because they were always visible. No, they became strong in the seasons where they chose to disappear. They became unshakable because they knew how to walk away from the noise and spend time in the quiet. They understood that a tree doesn't grow taller when people are watching. It grows silently, its roots deepening underground, invisible to the world. In the same way, when you disappear for a time, your roots grow deeper. You grow stronger even though the world may not see it yet. And I want you to think about your own life. How much of it has been shaped by the need to be seen? How many times have you stayed in rooms that drained you because you didn't want people to think you were different? How often have you scrolled endlessly, comparing yourself to others while ignoring the voice within you that was begging for stillness? How much longer will you sacrifice your peace just to stay visible in a world that doesn't even care? My friend, it's time to disappear. Not forever, not in fear, but with intention, to step back long enough that you can see clearly again, to breathe deeply again, to reset your spirit again. And do not be afraid of what people will think. They may wonder where you went. They may even speak about your absence. But their opinions cannot heal you. Their judgments cannot restore you. Only God can restore you. Only silence can reset you. Only disappearing can give you back the strength you've been losing by staying too available to everyone else. So, don't be afraid to turn off the noise. Don't be afraid to walk away for a season. Don't be afraid to disappear. Because in that disappearance, you will find clarity. In that silence, you will hear direction. In that solitude, you will discover the strength you've been searching for all along. When I talk about disappearing, I don't just mean stepping away from noise. I also mean cutting loose the things that are quietly draining you every single day. You know what I'm talking about. Those people, those habits, those endless little commitments that leave you feeling empty instead of full. We often don't realize how much weight we're carrying until we stop for a moment and notice how heavy our spirit feels. It's like walking with chains around your ankles and pretending it's normal. But my friend, it's not normal. You weren't created to carry everyone else's baggage, to entertain everyone else's demands, to live your life drained and depleted. There comes a time when disappearing means you have to cut those tethers and let yourself breathe again. Think about it. How many relationships in your life are actually feeding your soul? How many people in your circle truly want to see you rise? And how many secretly pull you down with negativity, jealousy, or constant criticism? Sometimes the ones closest to you can also be the ones limiting you. You try to keep peace, you try to explain yourself, you try to meet their expectations, but in the process you are leaking energy. You're exhausted not because life is too heavy, but because you are tied to too many things that don't belong to you anymore. Disappearing from these tethers doesn't mean you stop loving people, it means you stop letting their weight define your direction. It's not just people either, it's habits. Think about the things you keep doing that give you nothing in return. The late nights spent scrolling, the conversations that go nowhere, the commitments you say yes to because you're too afraid to say no. Every small compromise chips away at your strength. And then you wonder why you feel empty. You wonder why you feel stuck. It's because your energy has been scattered across 1,000 meaningless tasks instead of being preserved for what truly matters. When you disappear, you create a sacred boundary. You step out of the reach of those things that drain you, and you give yourself permission to live lighter. Now, some of you may be afraid of this. You're afraid that if you cut certain tethers, people will be upset. You're afraid that if you walk away from draining environments, you'll be alone. But let me tell you something. Better to walk alone in peace than to stay surrounded in chaos. Better to be free with a few than trapped with the many. You cannot live your purpose tied down to what no longer serves you. You cannot move forward while dragging the weight of yesterday. Disappearing is the courage to say, I love you, but I cannot carry this anymore. I respect you, but I cannot live at this cost anymore. I choose my peace. And don't underestimate the power of this choice. When you finally cut those tethers, you begin to feel alive again. Suddenly your energy returns. Suddenly your mind feels clear. Suddenly you realize how much you've been tolerating that was never meant for you. And here's the truth, the people who truly love you will understand. They might not at first, but in time they will respect the strength it took for you to protect your soul. And those who don't understand, they were never meant to have that much access to you anyway. Even your dreams depend on this. Because dreams require energy, they require focus, they require persistence. You can't pour into your vision if all your strength is being drained by distractions and unnecessary battles. Every minute you spend in circles that go nowhere is a minute stolen from your destiny. That is why cutting the tethers is not selfish. It's necessary. It's not unkind. It's survival. It's not abandoning others. It's choosing to not abandon yourself. I know some of you have been carrying toxic friendships just because you don't want to look harsh. I know some of you have been staying in routines that exhaust you because you're afraid of change. But hear me when I say this, nothing changes until you disappear from what drains you. Nothing grows until you separate from what suffocates you. Nothing flourishes until you stop letting your energy be stolen. You cannot heal in the same place that made you sick, and you cannot rise while still tied to the ground. So ask yourself today, what tethers need to be cut? What voices need to fade? What habits need to end? Be honest with yourself, and then have the courage to disappear from them. You don't owe the world an explanation for protecting your peace. You don't need to apologize for saving your strength. You don't have to justify choosing a life that doesn't drain you anymore. When I speak about disappearing, I also mean disappearing from the labels that others have placed on you. For so long, many of us have lived trapped inside identities that were never truly ours. From childhood, we are given names, roles, expectations, and patterns that shape the way people see us. Some of you have lived your entire life being the strong one, always expected to hold everyone else together. Others have been the quiet one, never given the chance to fully express yourself. Some have been told you are the failure, carrying the scars of mistakes you made long ago, mistakes that people never let you forget. These labels stick like chains, and if you are not careful, you begin to believe them. You begin to live as if that is all you are, forgetting that your true self is far greater than the role the world assigned you. That's why disappearing is powerful. It is a chance to step away from the stage where everyone expects you to perform the same character every day. Because you see, when you are always in front of people, they don't just see you, they define you. They create a box for you, and if you ever dare to step out of it, they question you, criticize you, or push you back in. But when you disappear, you take back the freedom to discover who you are without their expectations. You get to strip away those labels one by one until all that remains is your authentic self. Think about how many times you've lived for someone else's version of you. You kept quiet because they said you were shy. You took care of everyone else's problems because they said you were responsible. You held back your dreams because they said you were unrealistic. And slowly, piece by piece, the real you was buried under these roles. That's why so many people feel restless in their own lives. They're living in costumes that don't fit, acting out scripts they never chose. But my friend, you don't have to keep living that way. You can choose to step off that stage. You can choose to disappear from those roles and finally meet the person you were always meant to be. I believe the world is full of people who are starving for authenticity, but they can't find it because everyone is too busy performing. Everyone is too busy holding up the mask that others handed them. But authenticity can't be found in performance. It's found in silence. It's found in those hidden seasons when you step back and ask yourself, who am I when nobody is looking? Who am I when nobody is clapping? Who am I when there's no title attached to my name? That's the power of disappearing from the labels. You remember that you are not defined by roles, but by purpose. Not by what people say, but by what God says. Not by the box they put you in, but by the limitless spirit inside you. And don't misunderstand me. This is not easy. The world will resist your disappearance from its labels. The moment you stop playing the part they gave you, some people will feel threatened. They will try to pull you back. They will accuse you of changing. They will say, that's not who you are. But let me tell you something, you are allowed to change. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to stop living under the labels that suffocate you. You are not required to be the same version of yourself that makes everyone else comfortable. You were created for more than that. When you disappear from those labels, you begin to feel a new freedom. You start to realize that you don't have to be the fixer for everyone. You don't have to be the people pleaser. You don't have to be the one who always sacrifices while everyone else takes. You can lay those roles down and still be worthy of love. You can walk away from those performances and still carry dignity, because your value is not in what you do for others, it is in who you are. And here's the beautiful part, when you finally let go of the labels, you give yourself the chance to grow into your real calling. Some of you have gifts that have been buried under false identities. Some of you have dreams that have been silenced by roles you never asked for. But when you disappear from those labels, you create the space for those gifts to rise, for those dreams to speak, for your soul to breathe. And the world doesn't need another performance. The world needs your authenticity. So, if you've been feeling trapped in a role that doesn't fit you, hear me today. You don't have to keep playing it. You don't have to wear the mask. You don't have to answer to the labels that others forced on you. You can disappear from them. You can walk away from the performance. You can finally step into the freedom of being who you were always meant to be. When I talk about disappearing, I don't just mean stepping back for rest. I also mean using that hidden time as a sacred season of rebuilding. You see, the world loves to see results, but it rarely respects the process. Everyone claps when they see the finished product, but nobody notices the lonely nights of struggle, the countless hours of practice, the quiet moments of doubt you had to push through. That's why disappearing is so important, because it gives you a space to rebuild in silence, away from the critics, away from the comparisons, away from the eyes that don't understand what you're becoming. Think of a craftsman working on a masterpiece. He doesn't carve it in the middle of a crowded street with everyone watching and commenting. No, he goes into his workshop, closes the door, and spends hours shaping, refining, sanding away what doesn't belong until the beauty emerges. That's what disappearing is. It's not running away from life, it's entering your workshop. It's where you sharpen your skills, strengthen your spirit, and prepare for the moment when you will step out again, not half-built, but whole. The problem with living too visibly is that you're tempted to perform instead of progress. You start showing finished pieces just to keep up appearances, and the world judges you before you've even had the chance to grow. That's why some of you feel so discouraged. You keep exposing your process to people who only understand results. But when you disappear, you're no longer pressured to prove anything. You can fail quietly, learn privately, and grow steadily without the weight of someone else's expectations crushing you. Failure in private is a blessing because it becomes your teacher, not your shame. Even nature teaches us this truth. Seeds grow underground where no one sees them. Roots deepen in the soil long before the tree reaches for the sky. A caterpillar disappears into a cocoon unseen before it transforms into something unrecognizable. Growth always begins in hiding. And you, too, need that hidden season. You need to retreat into your own cocoon of silence, not to escape the world, but to prepare for the transformation that the world will one day witness. I know we live in a culture that pushes constant visibility. Share everything, post everything, prove everything. But hear me, what grows in silence often lasts longer than what grows in the spotlight. Because in the silence, your character is being built, your resilience is being tested, your vision is being refined. And when you finally step back into the light, you won't just be performing for approval. You'll be living out a strength that no one can take away from you. Some of you have been afraid to step back because you think people will forget you. You think disappearing means losing your place in the race. But my friend, the race was never about who is loudest or most visible. It has always been about who is prepared. And disappearing doesn't disqualify you, it equips you. While others waste their strength trying to be noticed, you are conserving yours for the moment that truly matters. And when that moment comes, you won't need to announce yourself. Your work, your character, your transformation will speak for you. This season of disappearing is your training ground. It's where you break old habits. It's where you practice discipline. It's where you confront the weaknesses you've been hiding behind business. It's where you ask yourself the hard questions and face the uncomfortable truths. And yes, it can feel lonely. Yes, it can feel like you've been forgotten. But I promise you, it is not wasted time. Every moment you spend in that hidden place is adding strength to your foundation. And a house with a strong foundation can weather any storm. Don't despise this silent season. Don't rush out of it before your time. Don't let the world pressure you into proving something you're not ready to reveal. Stay in your workshop as long as you need. Stay in your cocoon until the transformation is complete. Because when you finally reappear, the world won't just see the same version of you. They will see someone who has been rebuilt in silence, someone unshaken, someone prepared. When I tell you it's time to disappear, I also mean it's time to disappear from the drama that surrounds you. Life is already heavy enough without the constant weight of conflict, gossip, arguments, and chaos that people try to drag you into. And the truth is, drama only thrives when it has an audience. It feeds on your attention, your reactions, your energy. The moment you step away, the fire begins to die out. That's why disappearing from drama is not weakness, it's wisdom. It is choosing not to waste your life on battles that don't build you, conversations that don't change you, and conflicts that don't deserve you. How many times have you found yourself drained, not because of your own struggles, but because you were pulled into someone else's chaos? How often have you wasted hours, even days, replaying an argument, defending yourself to people who were never going to understand you, or trying to explain your peace to someone addicted to conflict? Every time you give yourself to drama, you leak energy that could have been invested in your purpose, in your growth, in your calling. Drama steals your focus and leaves you empty. That's why you must disappear from it before it robs you of the life you were meant to live. Some people thrive on conflict. They will stir it, chase it, and pull you into it because it gives them a sense of control. But you don't have to participate. You don't have to respond to every provocation, answer every insult, or fight every battle. In fact, your silence will speak louder than your reaction. Your absence will cut deeper than your argument. When you disappear from drama, you take back your power because you show that your peace is too valuable to be played with. There will always be voices trying to bait you, push you, or provoke you. Some of them might even be close to you, family, friends, coworkers. And it's hard because walking away feels like surrender. But you must understand, not every battle is meant for you. Not every fire is yours to put out. Some battles only exist to distract you, and some fires only burn to consume your time. When you disappear from drama, you're not giving up, you're choosing a higher ground. You're saying, my focus is too precious. My calling is too important. My peace is too sacred to waste on this. And here's the truth: the people who live for drama will call you distant. They will say you've changed. They may even accuse you of being cold. But don't let that pull you back in. Their need for chaos does not have to define your life. You are not responsible for keeping their storms alive. You are responsible for guarding your peace, for protecting your energy, for living the life you were created for. And if that means disappearing from arguments, gossip, and toxic cycles, then so be it. You'll thank yourself later for the peace it brings. Think about what happens when you do disappear from drama. Suddenly, your mind feels lighter. Suddenly, your days feel clearer. You have space to think, to create, to breathe. You're no longer stuck in the exhausting cycle of said, she said. You no longer carry the weight of proving yourself to people who were never going to see the truth anyway. That's the freedom that comes with stepping back. You realize that peace is not found in winning arguments. It's found in walking away from them. I know it's not easy. I know there's something in us that wants to defend, to explain, to prove. But ask yourself this: when has arguing ever given you peace? When has fighting back ever left you fulfilled? Most of the time, it just leaves you more tired than before. And that's why disappearing is powerful, because it shifts your energy away from chaos and back to clarity. It reminds you that not everything deserves your voice, not everyone deserves your presence, and not every battle deserves your time. So, don't be afraid to set those boundaries. Don't be afraid to say no to conversations that drain you. Don't be afraid to walk away without explanation. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stay silent. Sometimes the greatest victory is refusing to fight at all. Sometimes the most powerful move is to disappear. When I say it's time to disappear, I don't mean you stay gone forever. The purpose of disappearing is not to hide from the world, but to return to it with a renewed sense of direction. You see, there's a difference between vanishing out of fear and disappearing with intention. One is running away, the other is preparation. And the beauty of disappearing with intention is that when you come back stronger, clearer, and more focused than ever before. Think of it like an archer pulling back a bow. The arrow has to be drawn backward before it can launch forward with power. Your disappearance is that backward pull. It may feel like you're being held back, but really, you're being positioned for a greater release. When you reappear, it's not by accident. It's not just to go back to the old patterns, the old distractions, the old version of yourself. You reappear with purpose, with clarity, with the confidence that you now know why you're here and what you're called to do. Many people never learn this lesson. They disappear for a season, but when they return, they fall back into the same noise they left behind. They go back to proving themselves, to chasing approval, to letting the world dictate who they should be. That's not the kind of reappearance I'm talking about. The point of disappearing is transformation. The point of disappearing is so that when you come back, you don't blend into the noise. You stand out with substance. You're not louder, you're deeper. You're not busier, you're more focused. You're not scattered, you're anchored. And here's something important: when you reappear, you don't owe the world explanations for your silence. You don't need to justify the season where you step back. If they didn't understand your silence, they won't understand your growth. So don't waste your breath defending where you've been. Let your work speak for you. Let your strength reveal itself. Let your transformation be the only answer they need. The ones who truly matter will see the difference without you ever having to say a word. Reappearing intentionally also means being selective about what you show. You don't need to be visible everywhere. You don't need to be available to everyone. Your visibility should serve your purpose, not your ego. Too many people think being seen is the same as being significant, but they're not the same. What makes you significant is not how many eyes are on you, but how much truth, how much love, how much light you carry when you step into the room. Reappearance is not about shouting, "Look at me." It's about quietly living in such alignment with your purpose that people can't help but notice. And don't forget, when you come back, there will be people who expect the old version of you. They will try to push you back into the labels you left behind, the roles you abandoned, the drama you escaped. They may even resent the new boundaries you've set, the new strength you carry, the new silence you've embraced. but don't shrink back to make them comfortable. Don't dim your light to fit into the darkness you left behind. If your reappearance makes some people uncomfortable, let it. Because your life was never meant to be lived for their approval. When you reappear with intention, you carry something that can't be fake. You carry presence. People may not understand it, but they'll feel it. They'll sense the depth, the weight, the authority that comes from someone who has been alone with themselves, who has been rebuilt in silence, who has cut the tethers, dropped the labels, and risen above the drama. And that presence is what will open doors no noise ever could. So don't be afraid of disappearing, and don't be afraid of reappearing. Both are necessary. One is the cocoon, the hidden season, the quiet preparation. The other is the unveiling, the intentional moment where you show the world the strength you've been building all along. And when you do, don't come back small. Don't come back scattered. Don't come back apologizing. Come back with focus. Come back with direction. Come back with purpose. It's time to reappear intentionally.